Hi and welcome to the market alert for Tuesday the 9th of March 2021. So the Dow soars to record high as the Nasdaq tanks. That's what this is saying here when it means buy Rex into the red. And then we've got a comment from a hedge fund CIO. Jerome is unlikely to be around when everything comes crashing down. Absolutely. He will jump ship beforehand. So if you see him disappear very quickly, then be warned. And by one gauge, inflation fears at the highest this century. And also we're here super fast commodity price cycles is a harbinger of a sudden jump in inflation. And this is the subhead says here that while policymakers may characterize the inflation uptick as transitory, broad inflation cycles are not transitory and require monetary tightening to reverse. And that's interesting, isn't it? Monetary tightening, because that means interest rates will have to move higher. And that's going to be fun into a situation where really they want to drop rates again, as we looked the other day. Well, it was yesterday's about the UK, where the IMF, the International Mafia Fund, said that they could actually drop rates to -2 and it wouldn't make any difference. Well, first question is, well, why do it? But they'll do anything to try and keep this illusion alive. Implied volatility is very interesting because the Dow made an all-time high yesterday, and yet the implied volatility went from 1995 to 2135, which is unusual because normally you would have a situation where this would drop. So this is interesting. It might be a one-off, but certainly keep an eye on this. You don't tend to see the implied increase along with the all-time highs. You get it the other way. So maybe something's happening there. We're still turned back to amber though in the implied volatility chart here. Yields, very interesting for yesterday. Let's just bring up the 5-day. That's the one there, and you will see yesterday that we had a high of 161 yesterday. Overnight we're down at 156, but interestingly yesterday this continued to move to the upside, and there seems to be a bit of a decoupling now from this and the metals, when I say from the stock market and the metals. So the increase in yields have actually had put a lot of downside pressure on the Dow, but interestingly enough, yesterday, even though we had a 160 high, they managed to move the Dow up to create a new all-time high, which you can see here. That new all-time high is 32,148 for the Dow. We also had a new all-time high in the DAX, which we'll look at in just a moment. So interestingly enough, have a look at this. Just when you look at this, you don't really see a lot until you take it apart a bit. You've got we had the selling on Thursday, we had the buyback on Friday with the non-farm payroll figures, and yesterday. Look at the size of these bars. All of a sudden the volatility is really kicked up, and I think this is one of the reasons why the implied is actually going up with the underlying market here, the Dow, because of that volatility. But three great big bars over the last couple of days or so. Well, Thursday, Friday, Monday. Today there's no news. We've just come back over to here while I'm thinking about it. Today there's no news for the Dow, but then what little news we had yesterday didn't make a lot of difference, did it? We only had Bailey speaking, and Lagarde's out later in the week. So at the moment price is still up on the overnight. They're sitting at 89% from the recent high to the recent low. This is a support area. Got to take out the new all-time high, the 32,148, if they are to move higher. Meanwhile, in the German DAX, so this is yesterday's session, and then we've got a new all-time high overnight as well, which I'll just drag over there. So interestingly enough, the new all-time high is 14,434, made overnight. Again, just incredible what's going on. So let's have a look overnight, see where we are. We can see the high there, picked up just over midnight, and then the markets moved off this. You can see coming back down to the 200, going back to the previous day's close, back down to support here in the BRN, and then making its way back up to the close again, and over the last few hours the market is stuck in a sideways range, although we did break to the downside here, came back, but it's all looking a bit weakish, isn't it, this morning? And I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a bit of a down day with this, given the market has moved so strongly over the last couple of days, and there's no economic news, but we'll have to see. So any sort of move up to this overnight high could show some major resistance, unless there is other news that's going to move prices to the upside there. Let's just have a quick compression of the chart, have a look, see where we are DP wise from where we're currently trading. It's over 100 points down to this level to get to yesterday's low. Well, it's going to be so far down at the chart that's not worth looking at. That would be some reversal down to yesterday's low, but it's not unheard of. You've got reversals to the upside from the previous day of 300 or 400 points. So again, just make sure you're aware of these, and also on the upside, always have a look at these areas, both up and down. Great targets to allow you to maximize the profits on the trade. So that's where we are. A bit of weakness coming in there at the moment. So that's a roundup of what we saw yesterday, what to expect today. Yesterday's trading session, we saw the market moving sharply when the futures opened to the upside, sitting on the DP. As you can see here, the market then fairly quiet. And yesterday morning was a quiet session because the market was waiting for Bailey. The market kicked off straight up through the scalp, and then we had a potential sell signal where the market moved back to the DP and the 200 MA. A lot of support in this area. Again, why it's important to take note of all of these areas. They're there for a reason. You can see the buying pressure coming in, the market trading down in the daily chart, finding support here. You can see the volume building, then the market shooting back to the upside, then back down, and then it got into a sideways move. I moved a bit lower there, was brought back, and I'm going to fast forward through, as you'll see that sideways move there. Eventually we broke through the 14.042, which was where the market kicked off. It made this high as prices moved up and opened, and then sideways. And like I say, I'm going to move through this quite fast. We came back, market reversed, put in another signal. Market stopped at that level, which no surprise. Then we came back down, retested the DP level. You can see this here, then the market coming off the 200 and the DP, and then moving back up, and again to that BRN, and then it was a case of waiting for Bailey to speak there. In the afternoon, different ball game. I don't know whether the plunge protection team were out yesterday, but yesterday afternoon it was just incredible because the market started to move up at 130 when the Dow futures became really active, and prices were just sitting on the 5-bar moving average until we got the cash market the market was sitting on the 5-bar moving average, waiting for the Dow cash to open. I'll get there in a minute. And then prices, initially a bit of weakness. I'm going to look at the daily chart, see if we're going to get through this all-time high. And then prices just drove through it and kept moving. They traded sideways for a bit, drew a few fibs in just to test, see what sort of strength it had got. Became slightly range bound there. Then I had to go. I had my next door neighbour's funeral, unfortunately, so I wasn't able to see the rest of this in real time, but you can see prices there just continuing to steam up. And let me just see if I can go to I'll just go back to the daily chart here, and there you can see, if I get the right one, that's the Dow, this is the DAX. It just steamed all the way through the resistance there and continued on to create the new all-time highs there. So yeah, an interesting day. It's certainly going to be an interesting session today as well. A bit of weakness there still, and I wouldn't be at all surprised when I look at this daily chart if we don't get some sort of reversal there and profit taking. Certainly a massive bar for the DAX yesterday. In fact, let's just have a look. We haven't seen one of this size for some time. So what are we looking at? 455 points. So when I was talking earlier about prices being able to reverse and move all the way back down to those sort of lows that or the previous day's low, it's not uncommon. I'm not saying that's a prediction by any means. We could end up moving and making further all-time highs, but it's not uncommon to see a straight reversal in a daily chart. And you can see them. You've got one day where it's gone down, then it's gone up, then it's gone back down, and the same here. We've got a down, an up, a down, and back up. So it's not unusual to see that, especially after a big day of prices where there's a lot of volatility. Okay, so that will do it for this one. If there is anything else to report, I will let you know. But as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.